All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been waiting this for a while. So I want to do it because he's with us right now, and he always does this. It seems like before a match or after a match. And hey, hey! And ladies and gentlemen, when I say that, if you're a fan of the LWF, you very well will have an idea of who I'm talking about. Right now, he's actually on a little bit of a run with the Los Lancadores, who are going to be in action themselves in a huge tag team match we will certainly get into with the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. But he's got his own match that is going to be a match where I almost, as they would say in sports, would be kind of a pick 'em right now between him and Bob Costin, who certainly has some momentum when it comes to our own Wildfire Nate Reese. So let's get into it because we are literally less than 48 hours away from Aces High at the next LWF event at the Army Reserve Center in Chorley. So with further ado here on the Sports Report, the number one level sports show, pro wrestling star here from the LWF. That's the mysterious Mr. B. My friend.
Hey! Nice to see you, Tom. Nice to see you, Reverend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm working on the. I'm working on the
smiling.
intro.
I love your smile. It's a great smile.
Well,
smiling.
Well, certainly we try to smile because I'm trying to hold it in with my voice because we're trying to work on those intros, and I think we've kind of got it down now to a T. So I hope that you like the intro. I don't know if Simon Hill or Mike Angus gives you as good as intros, but we'll get to that another time. But obviously, my friend, a lot to get into here on Sportswire Radio, and certainly a lot with you. And,
Lots happened. Was it a month ago I was last on?
I know it's been, I want to say you first came on about maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago, I think was the first time that you came on. But definitely happy to have you back. Looking forward to many more appearances. And you've got almost literally an Aces High-like match. And we'll get into the Acid Stephen Cross. We'll get into Nate Reese. I promise we'll get into all that. But I want to set the tables because it's literally just 2 short weeks ago that you were last in the ring.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see you back in the ring in a singles match, your first singles match in a while here against Bob Costin, who certainly has a lot of momentum here in his own right. So set the tables for us here on Sportswire Radio because you've certainly been doing a lot on your own end on social media where everybody can follow you on Instagram at Mysterious Mr. B. But what can we expect from you Saturday night at the Army Reserve Center in Chorley against Bob Costin?
Well, Tom, let's not beat around the bush here. All right. Bob Costin. Bob Costin is possibly the best wrestler in the Lancashire Wrestling Federation. You know, and to be honest with you, when I got told that I was wrestling him, I was so ecstatic. You know, I was amazed. I couldn't believe that the mysterious Mr. B has climbed a little ladder high enough to be able to wrestle Bob. Now, me and Bob, we're amigos, you know. Let's not, I know I'm winding him up a little bit and I'm getting in his head a little bit, but it's all a bit of tongue-in-cheek. At the end of the day, me and Bob are amigos. We'll shake hands before the match. We'll hug after the match. You know, it's just the way it is with me and Bob. It's just that when we're booked to have a fight, we've got to fight. You know, we've got to go for it. We've got to battle each other, and yeah, all the Mr. B TV stuff that you've been seeing or anybody's been seeing, they're quite ludicrous. But there's a game plan behind it. I'm not completely empty-headed in here. There is something in here, man. There's something in here. And come this Saturday on the 9th of July at the Army Reserve Centre at Aces High for the Lancashire Wrestling Federation, the mysterious Mr. B is going one-on-one with the almighty Bob Costin. And, I've got a good feeling about this for Mr. B. I've got a good feeling. I feel like I've done a lot of groundwork here. I feel like I can cope with his technical abilities. I feel like I can counter his fast movements. Because sometimes when you're in the ring with Bob, I've been in training with him, I'm not going to lie, you're blinking, he's not there. He's such a fantastic wrestler. And, Kyle Kennedy.
The lawman Kyle Kennedy. He speaks to everybody. Yeah. Have you heard of the lawman Kyle Kennedy? Because he has something to say.
Mr. B. Nice to see you. Pronouns, pal. But yeah, going back to Bob, can't wait for it. Cannot wait. I've been doing a bit of extra cardio as well in the gym because, if you're wrestling Bob, you're going to have to be quick. I've just been doing tag team stuff for the last couple of months, and your energy, suppose, doesn't, because you can rely on your teammates to help you out. Whereas I'm going one-on-one with Bob here. So, I've cut the coffee down and I've been drinking more water and I've been doing a lot more running. I'm focused and I'm ready. Yeah.
And you definitely are ready, and I'll get to that. And I think this might be actually a helpful point. I don't know if it is or not, but Davey Getsky says Mr. B is too close to the microphone, so I don't know.
Is it too loud? Hang on. How's that? Is that better?
A little better. I mean, I can hear you. Long as people, I think people can hear you. So, I think we'll be able to manage here. It won't be as bad as a couple of days ago, the Mysterious Mr. B, where we had a segment and we had a contract signing involving the lawman Kyle Kennedy, and that was infected literally with some bad technology. But you said something interesting on Bob Costin, and I want to get to that because I would have to agree with you on one thing about Bob Costin. When I think about technical wrestlers in the LWF, he is definitely at the top of the list, if not one of the best technical wrestlers in the LWF. So leave aside all the stuff we said about him here on Sportswire Radio, everything else that Nate Reese has said. But when it comes to somebody as accomplished technically in the ring as a Bob Costin, I mean, what do you do? I mean, I kind of get the whole mind games part, but Nate Reese tried that to an extent for 6 months, and it doesn't work once you get in the ring. I mean, what do you do to combat somebody like that with their technical skills?
Just train harder. That's all I can say. I've had the Max Marauder and Desposada. They've been helping me out, doing some training. Am I still too close to the mic? I don't want to, because I can't hear it, so I don't want it to sound like...
I mean, you sound okay. You sound okay.
What if I just stop shouting? How's that? If I just talk like this, is that better?
No, listen, you weren't as bad as your tag team partner the first time. So, I mean, I can hear you. I mean, so I'm sure somebody will let us know. So just let's carry on and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, just let me know. Getsky, if you're on there, just let me know. And then we can move around. But don't be winding me up, pal. Yeah, so it's training. It's much to do with the training. I mean, it's kind of like... I used to play in goal football, and when we used to do a lot of one-on-one training with my goalkeeper coach, and he would say to me, this is just all to get you the tools. What matters is what happens in the game. Well, it's kind of the same thing with wrestling, and you can do as much training as you want, but it'll certainly help me. But when it comes to the actual day, when it comes to the match, that's when it matters. So. Some people some people are getting in my ear and they're saying, hey, why don't you just, do a couple of this and a bit of that and a bit of this? And it's not fair fighting. And I can't go up against Bob and play unfair because Bob's a gentleman. Bob's a great guy. So I've got to walk into there to be the absolute best that Mr. B can possibly be. And that means I've had to train harder. That means I've had to get stronger. That means I've had to get faster. And despite the videos where I look like I'm a bit of a fool, it's all true. Hey!
And Mr. Getsky has a comment, a rather, I guess, positive comment, actually. He says, I've bought a ticket for the show as I'm not getting my title match for some reason, so I'll be watching Mr. B. So I guess Mr. Getsky will be watching you, and I have to say, it was not the past Monday Night Mutiny. No, it was the past Monday Night Mutiny show that actually Davey Getsky was actually a rather impartial referee. So, I mean, were you impressed about Davey Getsky's referee skills? Because I have to say, as a referee, he actually wasn't that bad.
Well, I mean, he was doing all right up until...
Yeah, he was actually doing, pretty good. I got to be honest. I mean, I think everybody knows I've certainly said a few things about the Wrecking Crew in the past, but in terms of as a referee, I mean, when he wins 7 or 8 world titles in the next 20 or 30 years, he might have a second career after his wrestling in-ring work is over. Who knows?
But David Getsky does what David Getsky wants. And
True.
And we couldn't even finish our match,
I'm aware.
He decided that he was going to, beat the snot out of all of us. And,
I'm aware of that, too. I'm well aware that there's no question that I'm aware of that.
Yeah, Yeah, we got battered. So he was doing really good until he decided, no, I'm not interested in finishing this match. I'm just going to beat you all up.
Well, I mean, I guess it was a tease because if you were watching Monday Night Mutiny, and of course, if you want to watch Davey Getzke's referee skills and, of course, the Los Lankadors and everything that they're involved in the LWF on Monday Night Mutiny, you can follow the LWF's YouTube page, LWF Television, where you can watch some great content, where you can watch some great matches, and also anything related to the LWF. I highly encourage you follow them on Instagram at the LWF Wrestling and LWF on Twitter, and also Facebook, like the LWF's group as well. So I mean, listen, he had his moments, and that's kind of it is what it is. But thankfully, maybe in this case on Saturday at the Army Reserve Center, Davey Getzke's not going to be a referee in your match. Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, but he's just told us he's going to be in the building, so I'm rather frightened that... actually, no, I'm not frightened of you.
He said he bought a ticket, though. He didn't specify that he's a member of the roster Saturday, which is kind of interesting. So maybe that's good for you.
Well, he might buy a ticket, but that's not going to stop him jumping in the ring and, battering my head on the canvas.
Do they allow fans or those who buy a ticket to actually come in the ring? Has it been allowed in an LWF show? I mean, I want to make sure before I say anything stupid.
Only during the photograph sessions during the interval.
Well, so, I'm sure you get a lot of autograph requests. I'm sure you get tons of autograph requests. But with that mugshot, with that smile, I am sure Mysterious Mr. B, you get that.
Beautiful, isn't it? It's just beautiful.
Well, I mean, certainly there is somebody for somebody out there nonetheless. And Davey Getzke will definitely speak of a different time, I'm sure, when he eventually gets his world title match against either Cameron Solis or Reynaldo. But I mean, when it comes to a match, and actually I have a question. Actually, somebody is giving me a question about you. So let me go and ask that. What does the B stand for? Actually, somebody that's a good friend of ours, Matthew James. Matthew checks in usually in some of our nonstop action wrestling, CCW, and GT ministry shows. So what does the B stand for? Because a fan asked that.
Matthew James. It's a very good question. That I get asked that quite a lot of times.
Really? You get asked that a lot? I did not know that.
I get asked that a lot. Every show, to be honest with you, everybody asks me. The answer is, I can't tell you. It's as simple as that. One day it might be revealed, one day, but for now, I can't reveal it. It's like the special secret that is Mr. B. It's a special secret that what lies behind.
Well, it's almost like McDonald's has the secret sauce, or is it KFC has the secret sauce, and they say, they can never reveal it. So in that case, it's no different here than when it comes to the Mysterious Mr. B, because for whatever reason, they call you the Mysterious Mr. B, and Davey Getzke says he wasn't allowed Mr. D, so he had to change it. So
yeah, I mean, he's getting, you're lowering tone there, Getzke. You're lowering the tone. Just remember, this is a family show, pal. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. Okay, I see why he means. Okay, I get it. Okay, so at first that almost went over my head, and I'm like, okay, now I got it. Okay, I see what he tried to me. Yeah, clever from Mr. Getzke, but we are a family show on Sportswire Radio. But hey, he shouldn't feel too bad, because I had the Cumbrian Outlaw Rick Marcus once, and he was talking about, I think it was his last match in KOW with RPD, and he actually used the blurt word. Then the second time, he was about to say oops, but then I caught it. So, I mean, certainly sometimes it does happen. So, clever there. He tried to be clever like the Mysterious Mr. B and Davey Getzke. But I hope to have Mr. Getzke back on in the near and distant future.
Oh, you don't want him, Mom. You don't.
Well, if he's going to have a match with Reynaldo, I mean, I haven't had Reynaldo one in a while. And come to think of it, I haven't had Reynaldo one in ages. Where has Reynaldo been to Sportswire Radio? We had him on twice, and in the span of like a month, and then all of a sudden, he's been mysterious, literally, to us. I mean, I think the entire locker room's come on before Reynaldo has in the last 6 or 7 months. So, I mean, we probably should get Reynaldo on, but that's here nor there. But, I mean, when it comes to this match, you have to be excited, because this is a big singles match for you. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen you on a main LWF show in a singles match. I mean, what are the nerves going to be like between tomorrow night and Saturday night at the Army Reserve Center? What are your nerves going to be like?
I don't get nervous. The Mr. B doesn't get nervous.
Really? You don't? So you're not one of these wrestlers that all of a sudden where I always say, well, it's almost like the first day of school jitters, and you get that stomach ache, and you're kind of like terrified, and you're worried about, so you don't get that at all.
I wish I did, because maybe.
Why do you wish that for?
Well, I think sometimes nerves means that you're concentrating a little bit more. And
I've always said that. I interview all types of people, leave aside wrestling, right? I interview politicians, I interview athletes, coaches, and all different levels. And I always ask that question. And some actually say, well, it's a good thing to get nervous. I never thought of it that way. But, you actually just made that same point.
Yeah, absolutely. And, my win and loss record isn't exactly very good. In fact, I still haven't pinned anyone yet or made anybody tap out.
But the last 2 times we've seen you on a main show, you guys, the teams you've been on, have won.
We've won, absolutely.
You pointed it out to me the first time you came on, my friend. You did point that out because the first time we had you on, which is the last and first time, you had pointed out that you guys had won the match you were involved in when it was all threes from the Los Lancadores.
Yeah, we did. So maybe just a shout out there to the Blazing Guns, Comrade Blaze.
Yes, Nathan Gunn at this point is almost kind of like the unofficial third man of the LWF Power Hour on Sportswire Radio, because I think I've had Nathan Gunn on at this point so many times that we almost just kind of refer to him as like the unofficial third man of myself, Cross, and Nate Reese. So at this point, have to give Nathan Gunn a shout out.
They had my back.
And he's coming back on, by the way, Nathan Gunn, very soon.
Well, I'll message him anyway, but his after party was fantastic.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
I love him. The Los Lancadores love them both. You know what I mean? That's for you, Nathan.
Did the ladies love the mask, by the way?
Oh, yeah, well, I think so. Yeah.
Because the running joke is, which I'm sure I'm going to get killed because the locker room is going to probably admit this deep down, that nobody knows the ladies like the Scenario Nathan Gunn.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
There are some wrestlers that you could say, well, I mean, God bless them and what their preferences might be, but the Scenario Nathan Gunn, he knows the ladies like no other. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
That's why I won't take Mrs. B to a wrestling show that is at.
Good point. Well, you're a smart man. On that case, maybe on some other things, not so smart, but on that, very, very smart. And, of course, shout out to Mrs. B. But for those that may not have a Mrs. B, certainly they enjoy the parties that the Scenario Nathan Gunn throws. Who I think I've said on a Sportswire radio show in the past is almost kind of like our Pitbull of the LW. Because when I think of Pitbull's always got like all these videos and all these shows. You always see like hundreds and hundreds of ladies in a small way. The Scenario Nathan Gunn has that. But be that as it may, we'll talk about that another time on Sportswire radio. But I mean, when it comes to a match like this, and I hate to put you on the spot because we've talked about obviously.
I'm here. Ask me anything.
How big of a match is this right now in your career against Bob Costin?
This is the biggest match of my career by a country mile, and because it's difficult to see past the talent that is Bob Costin. And like I say, we're buddies, we're friends. He's given me advice. I've been there to carry his bags. But were
you there afterwards when his head became bald all of a sudden? Were you there and kind of were you the shoulder for him to cry on, according to Nate Reese?
Well, we were having pictures taken during the interval in the ring while he was getting his haircut, bless him. So Des Rosada thought it'd be a good idea to make sure that he had the biggest beer you could possibly have, just to ease the nerves, So, he was. We and even at the last show, we were there. We were there for him. And like I say, it's a friends versus friend match, but by no means, when the bell rings, I'm not going to go soft on him, and I know he's not going to want to go soft on me. I might try the kiss of death on Bob Costin,
but I wouldn't expect that. You know what, though? In some ways. And sometimes they say this in wrestling that even though, yes, you guys have a friendship, you guys have a mutual respect, but a lot of times actually what happens in wrestling is these types of matches where it's actually where you lay it out more. You almost go harder than you would against somebody maybe you dislike, like a Davey Getsky, for an example, or a Steven Cross, or a Nate Reese, or a Balachius, whoever else it might be, because in this way you almost feel like that you and him have something to prove toward each other. So sometimes, in some ways, these matches may actually bring out the most in terms of what you want to dish out amongst each other. That's what they say sometimes in these types of matches.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I've got to figure out a way to win this match. I've got to figure out a way to get the pin. I've got to figure out a way to maybe tap him out. And sometimes the only ways you can think about it is when is he going to lose concentration. If you've ever been in the ring with Bob Costin, he doesn't lose concentration. So I'm rather hoping, because I'm the rookie, technically here, I am the rookie. I'm only 22 years old.
I'm going to not say anything toward that. I'm going to plead the fifth on that. Because I'm not 22 myself, so I'm going to plead the fifth. But I know nobody's as old as Nate Reese. I'm just kidding.
He's rolling up to 66, isn't he, Nate Reese?
Well, let's see. 66. Yeah. Well, let's see. 66 and Number of the Beast and Aces High. It sounds like when Nate Reese was in diapers, Iron Maiden was literally playing Aces High for the first time. I'm only kidding.
Yeah, I'm rather hoping I can figure out the 1 second, 2 second spot, probably 1 second with Bob, where he loses concentration. And for me to do that, I've got to be on him like a hawk. I've got to be really, really, really focused in there. And maybe I've got to turn his head away by trying my tricks, the Mr. B tricks. If anybody's seen me wrestle, you'll know that you wouldn't necessarily call me the most gifted technical wrestler. However, I do have tricks up my sleeve that can, make people sway and just think.
Well, listen, don't tell us those tricks, because we are literally just about 48 hours away from one of the more intriguing matches quite a while we've seen in the LWF. That is Aces High, between our guests right now, the mysterious Mr. B and Bob Costin. Certainly, this is a match that you could put anywhere in the card, coming up at the Army Reserve Center in Shorely, and you could say, you know what, that could be a match that very well could steal the show. It could be one of the more, if not entertaining matches around in the LWF, and we're getting the inside scoop from the man himself right now, the Mysterious Mr. B, who you can follow on Instagram at Mysterious Mr. B, and the Los Lankadors. I highly encourage you also follow as well, including Disfrasada and the Masked Marauder. You can also follow the Los Lankadors on Instagram at Los_Lankadors. Also, Disfrasada Wrestler, please like his page on Facebook as well. And also make sure you follow Disfrasada _1 on Instagram as well. And the LWF for everything that they do. And I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. And we will have more LWF coverage tomorrow night on Sportswire Radio with the Asset Stephen Cross, who I am sure the Mysterious Mr. B is going to get into here in a few minutes, and also Wildfire Nate Reese at the LWF Power Hour that we'll have just literally a few short hours away from Aces High. And something tells me we'll be speaking a lot about a potential new tag team called Crossfire. So it seems like we very well could have a new tag team that could be laying the foundations for some work here in the LWF. And if you like what you hear from Sportswire Radio, I highly encourage you give us a like on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. And thank you, everybody, because we've now reached over 300 likes on Facebook. It was just a short time ago, I had just maybe 50 of my friends that like Sportswire Radio. Now I'm up to 300 plus likes on Facebook. Yeah, we're up to 300 plus likes. We're doing well on that. We're up to just about 1,000 followers on Instagram. So we are working hard, but certainly the Mysterious Mr. B right now is working just as hard. And also want to thank everybody that is tuned in on our flagship on sportnarium.com/player. I'll also have a few announcements toward a world champion boxer coming on at the end of the show. So we'll get into that. But Mysterious Mr. B, I do want to get into the Acid Stephen Cross, because the last I saw, actually a couple of short days ago, he was on another podcast, and that was 3 Count Radio, and a gentleman that actually shows up to a lot of LWF shows. And the Acid Stephen Cross had a little bit to say about you. And leave aside getting to what I know you heard about what he said with me, but would you like to respond, seeing that the Acid Stephen Cross, it looks like he did share a little bit of a smile, and he had a few things or two to say about you on his appearance on 3 Count Radio this past week?
Well, he did, yeah. But Reverend, I have a
Yes,
surprise. I have a surprise for you right now. I have a surprise because stood to my left is the asset Stephen Cross.
I
I'm
knew
not
this was
kidding.
coming.
I'm not kidding. He is. He stood right here. Do you want to see him? Let's see.
We're live. I mean, I've got listeners all over the world and fans, so why not?
Hello, Stephen. There you are. There you are. I'm going to beat you up, Mr. B. There, he's talking rubbish, and he have say hello, Stephen. Look at this. Eh? Look at that. Get your bald head, son. Give us a kiss. Mwah! There you are, fella. There you are. Stephen, he gets a bit excited sometimes.
Now, we know Alexa Bliss had a doll that she's showed up with in the ring on and off for quite a while. But I have to say, the mysterious Mr. B, and we've seen other instances in wrestling of certain figures that wrestlers may go around with. This one certainly might very well take the cake here on Sportzwire Radio.
Well,
literally.
This is Stephen Cross. This is it. You've never had him on picture on.
No, that's been kind of. It's funny you said that because this is, I guess, the first time we're having the asset Stephen Cross on picture because for the past year, it's him and Nate Reese. And Nate Reese the past year, it's been kind of the running joke, and I know other wrestlers have mentioned it in the locker room, have said, well, why haven't Nate Reese and the asset Stephen Cross gone on camera? And, well, I don't know that answer. Although Nate said once that, yeah, we should do it, and then, Nate hasn't followed up, but I don't know the answer on the asset Stephen Cross. So I guess I might have to ask him, or if I don't have him, maybe I should take that as a picture and just use it as my background for future appearances with Stephen Cross.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll do a quick Edge and Christie in 5-second pose.
Do the Austin Theory for us. Do the Austin Theory. Every time Austin Theory goes like this and he takes a photo of himself and, Well, I mean, I should probably take the photo now on Sportswire Radio. In fact, we'll actually take it.
Ping it.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We have a first here. In fact, I'll post this photo on the Instagram page of my account, the Sports Report 2021, after we're off the air. So this could very well be a first. So we have certainly, I guess, made history here.
We're friends, really. You know what I mean?
I could see that. I mean, how often does he talk to you?
Yeah, he talks to me quite a lot. I mean, he's got a bit of a bad neck at the moment. That's why it's sort of...
Yeah, I can see it. Neck's a little twisted there. He's twisted.
Still won't smile, though. You know what I mean?
Well, they said once famously Shawn Michaels vacated the WWF title at the time because he needed to find his smile. So I guess the asset Stephen Cross has a twisted neck because he needs to find his smile. Would that be the same scenario here?
I think so. I think that's a very good, that's excellent. That anyway, we'll say goodbye to him. But you know what he's like. He's like.
No, I've known him for the past year. Actually, I've known him very well. I mean, I would think I would know him, but I guess I don't know him now.
Let's say goodbye. Say goodbye, Stephen Cross.
I guess, like Edge did say, you think you know me. Well, I guess I don't know. Maybe I didn't know him after all this years. Who knows? I mean,
I think he's got something to say. Hang on.
Oh, he'll have something to say tomorrow night. I'm sure about this. Although he did say that last week when we asked him about you coming on, he said he probably wasn't going to watch because he would get angry. I mean, I'm sure you heard that comment. Was that fair to say you heard that?
He's here, though. He came round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess he came around. I guess he certainly...
Hang on, Reverend. Sorry, he's got something to say. Shut up, you, Mr. B, you freak. See, he's just rude all the time, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, almost sounds like him here, the mysterious Mr. B.
Terrible.
Last night on Sportswire Radio, I didn't know if we could top last night where we actually had a contract signing of wrestlers having a match, but I think we might have topped it because we actually had on the asset Stephen Cross, quote unquote, for the first time actually on video on Sportswire Radio. So certainly,
are we going to carry it? Are we talking about him for a bit longer? If we are, I'm just going to...
Should I ask you, the asset Stephen Cross, what's your thoughts on your upcoming match this Saturday at the Army Reserve Center with now your new tag team partner, Wildfire Nate Reese? I mean, should I ask that question to you, Mr. Cross? What's your thoughts?
Well, he's just said, he's just like Popeye and he just needs some spinach for his muscles to get bigger. So he's lent me this. He's gone now. Off your pop.
So I would say then he's watching a lot of Popeye the Sailor Man, Popeye
I
cartoon.
think so. He looks a bit like him, doesn't he? If you stuck a little pipe in his mouth. There you are. Don't get me wrong, by the way.
How's that hood fit on you, by the way?
It's perfect. It's fantastic. This is the best acquirance. He shouldn't have left it around. But I will say one thing about Stephen Cross.
You tell me.
He's one of the strongest men ever. I mean,
there's no question. Listen, leave aside all this right now, and I'm really trying my hardest to contain myself because usually that's very difficult on some of these shows. But I will say this: when I watch all the different talent, and no disrespect, I mean, Davey Getzke's in phenomenal shape, and certainly he's really changed his body, no question. Shout out to the Cumbrian Outlaw, Rick Marcus, for doing that. But when I look at all the wrestlers right now, in terms of their cardio, in terms of their shape, there is nobody right now, pound for pound, that can match the Acid Stephen Cross. And I would say right now, and I've said this quite a bit over the past year, I think you can flip a coin between him and Rick Marcus in terms of wrestlers who are just in overall the best shape. He literally, the Acid Stephen Cross, has maybe 0% body fat. He literally, I mean, the guy has like 0% body fat.
He doesn't sweat. There's no sweat.
Well, I'm not going to ask about the sweat part, but I certainly know that
when you're in the ring with somebody.
Fair enough.
Like under this mask after a match, it looks like I've had a shower. But Stephen Cross,
that's how I feel sometimes when I do these shows. Sometimes I'm on 3.5 hours, and I'm like saying to myself, how did I just go through that? Not to say that I'm a wrestler, but I mean, I've had my own experiences with feeling like I had my own shower and just how long I kept talking. But you might have the same feeling with the mask on.
I don't know what it is about Stephen Cross. I just don't know what it is. But I have this thing that's just built in my brain that I have to keep prodding him. You know what I mean? Just keep winding him up. But every time it ends with the same result, he batters me. Maybe I'm just trying to toughen myself up. I don't know. But I do know one thing. Along the road on the way, somewhere down the line, the mysterious Mr. B and the asset Stephen Cross, we will go one-on-one at some point. We will wrestle many times, I think. I can't help just wind him up. Hey.
So let me ask you this question, because I know that in some form, the asset Stephen Cross is going to respond to this tomorrow night before Aces High. But just want to make sure I wasn't hearing things. You want another match at some point with the asset Stephen Cross. Is that correct?
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
There's a part of him that brings sort of a fire out of Mr. B. He brings the energy that Mr. B can have. He brings the cheeky Mr. B. Oh, that rhymes. The cheeky Mr. B. And I quite enjoy the cheeky Mr. B. But, you've got to take the fun with the hard.
Well, I mean, some may say you do like cheekies of some wrestlers that might be like the asset Stephen Cross, but I'm going to plead the fifth on some of those things here. But certainly that may rhyme, and certainly, yeah.
If anybody wants to see what happens when I do something to Stephen Cross, then if you just go on my Instagram account, the Mysterious Mr. B.
Oh, we've been plugging it throughout the last half an hour, absolutely. Yeah. Mysterious Mr. B on Instagram.
You will see a video of Stephen Cross. He gave me the hardest chop that I've still got his handprint on my chest, and it was 2 weeks ago. So, yeah. But for some reason, I can't help myself. It's just who he is. I'm obsessed with making him smile. But I must point out, I don't have a shrine of him in my bedroom.
Okay.
That's Davey Getzke I've got a shrine of. That's Davey Getzke. But that's for another time.
Davey Getzke? Davey Getzke, you have a shrine of? I mean, I would have been fine. Listen, I would have said, you know what? You would have had a shrine of somebody else. I would have said, all right, you know what? That would have made sense. But, I mean, Davey Getzke of all people?
Yeah, well, I've got a poster of Chris.
Everyone hates Getzke, though. Everyone hates Getzke. You have a Getzke shrine? Are you sure?
Of course. Yeah. He doesn't realise it, but I take pictures of him when he's not looking.
Well, I mean, if he took photos of him and he didn't notice, he still wouldn't notice. In fact, if you took a photo of Davey Getzke in front of him, he still wouldn't notice.
He's too busy looking in the mirror.
Yes. Yes, he's too busy looking at himself. He's too busy worrying about other things, and he's too busy worried about complaining. So that
He's,
I agree with you on.
he's
Certainly.
looking. He's looking at his gains. That's what he's doing. Looking at his gains.
Well, I'll tell you what. That's here nor there. I'll let Mr. Getsky address those situations another time, another place here. But I do want to comment on your allies and obviously your tag team
Yeah,
partners in the
please.
Los
Yeah,
Lancadores because
my brothers.
they have a rather really, really intriguing match here coming up that was announced earlier this week, and they'll be against the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. This feels like that the Los Lancadores, Disfrasada, and the Mass Marauder are moving up a little bit here. Just like you're moving up the ladder, they're moving up here right now because they're going to be in the ring with Cameron Solis, who, oh, by the way, is pulling double duty here because he's going to be in the ring with Reynaldo in the main event of Aces High at the Army Reserve Center. So I almost have to ask you, I mean, what do you make of this match? And should we be saying our regards here and prayers and deep will thoughts to the Los Lancadores? Because this is a match. Dan Evans and Cameron Solis. I mean, I'm terrified of these guys right now.
Yeah, listen, them two, the mercenary squad, they are an unbelievable pair. It's for us, for the Los Lancadores, for my brothers Desposada and the Mass Marauder. It's like they've hit the jackpot with this one. But you're saying,
is it? You think they've hit the jackpot here?
Oh God, yeah. Look who
I feel like this would be a death certificate here. I'm signing.
No, you've got to remember that Cam Solis, he's got to wrestle in the main event that evening. He wants.
Yeah, but they get them first though. Championship. But do they get them? But they get them first though.
Yeah, yes, that's what I mean. So he's going to come in, but he's not going to want to go 100,000,000%. He's not want to go full throttle.
You think so, Cameron Solis?
Because he's got his mind on the championship later that night. So what would he rather do? Would he rather beat the Los Lancadores for a thumbs up, or would he want to become the champion? So I think his mind might be elsewhere in that match, which then sort of leaves it as a sort of a 2 on a 1.5. And Dan Evans, Cam, they are.
Dan Evans, we were speaking about this off the air. Dan Evans, I feel like he's everywhere. I see him in Norway. I see him in Denmark. I see him in Scotland. I mean, is there any place in Europe right now that Dan Evans hasn't wrestled? No, seriously. I mean, he really wrestles everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think
the LWF is very lucky to have him. I will say this is a shoot. The LWF is very lucky to have his services because he is really an international superstar.
We love Dan Evans, on a personal note. We do.
Absolutely. I've spoken to him a few times.
Come this Saturday, however, we don't love Dan Evans. He changes, he switches into this.
He's like Clark Kent almost. He changes.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
When you see him, when he wrestled Reynaldo for the championship a couple of months ago, I was wondering about hovering backstage, and I went to give him like a shake his hand, like good luck today, and he just stared at me like that. And he was like, "Ooh, this isn't the Dan Evans who I was speaking to earlier today." Like he switched. So I understand what you're saying about the concern for my brothers, my amigos. However, I think sometimes, I think the Los Lancadores are being overlooked a bit here. Have you seen the technical?
I do think that. Yeah, I mean, listen. I do think between Monday Night Mutiny and the last couple of events we've seen in the LWF, I mean, the three of you have some momentum. Yeah. I definitely would agree with that. But this is Cameron Solis and Dan Evans. That's all I'm saying. This is, I mean, listen, this isn't even like me saying Nate Reese. This isn't like me saying Davey Getsky even or Chris Stone. I mean, this is Cameron Solis and Dan Evans, the Merseyside Mercenary Squad. This is like the big time.
It is the big time. It is. But what better way to make your name by causing this upset?
Well, this would be, I'll tell you this. I will tell you this. If certainly Disfrasada and the Mass Marauder win this match, this would easily, by far, the biggest win of their career, by far, for you guys. I mean, this is a win that all of a sudden, I mean, they win this match, right? All of a sudden, you have to say, well, they could very well be the number one contenders for those tag team titles. Whatever happens Saturday night between the Wrecking Crew and Synergy, I mean, almost you have to say they would be the number one contenders with a win like
Of
this. So, I
course,
mean,
of
that's
course.
fair to say.
You see, like I say, I think we come with this stigma to the Los Lankadors because we go out there and have a bit of fun, kissing people and all of that. You've got to remember, like I said, this Rosada's technical ability inside the ring is second to none. He is unreal.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And the Masked Marauder, my word, he's like a big brother to me. And the size of that man, like the strength of that man, it's unreal. The speed of the size of him, it's crazy. So I actually think, I know because I'm part of them. I see them every day. They're like my brothers. I know that they have got a fantastic chance of beating the Mercenary Squad, Cam Solis and Dan Evans this Saturday.
Oh, they have a chance. There's no question that there's always a chance, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you think about, listen, James Ellsworth beat AJ Styles twice. I mean, listen, the 1-2-3 Kid beat Razor Ramon. I mean, listen, Barry Horowitz beat Hakushi. I mean, Rey Mysterio beat Kevin Nash on Monday Nitro. I can go down the line. I think the Brooklyn Brawler beat Triple H on SmackDown once. I mean, the Godfather beat Triple H. So, I mean, there are instances. So, I mean, it's not out of the ordinary, but this is definitely a interesting match to say the least here. And I mean,
I can't wait for it. I can't wait.
Listen, I can't wait for the entire card. I mean, is there any? Do you want to comment actually on Crossfire and the worst tag teaming against Shining Wizard and Blazing Gun? I almost feel like I should just ask that to you after everything I mentioned here.
I mean, we've had sort of, the last show obviously comes up against Gorgon, who, by the way, is one of the quickest, fastest moving, strongest wrestlers I've come into the ring with. He's an amazing talent, naughty boy, but an amazing talent.
I've had Gorgon on in the past, so yeah, I can see that.
And Shining Wizard, they're our boys. What I love about Shining Wizard is that we have that immense respect for each other. We're the best of friends outside the ring. When we get in the ring, we're more than happy to beat the living daylights out of each other, and we love doing that. If you go again to the LWF television on YouTube, you will see
Monday Night Mutiny. Yep,
Monday Night Mutiny, and there's a lot of really hard hitting matches, which Mr. B still suffering a couple of injuries from, but it's those boys, we love them to bits. The Blazing Guns, forever I will hold them in my heart, because without them, the mysterious Mr. B would still be would still not have had a win in professional wrestling, whereas I do now because of those boys. So Conrad Blaze and Nathan Gunn again.
So I have to ask you then, let's ask you a question, as we are here with pro wrestling star, the mysterious Mr. B, who's just hours away from his huge match, the biggest match of his career, against Bob Costin, who's got some momentum right now. He finally one-upped our own Wildfire Nate Reese in the Lumberjack match, and the Los Lankadors were a huge part of that Lumberjack match. That was at the Buckshaw Village Community Center last Saturday in Shorely, and you'll be, if you're in Shorely, make sure you go buy a ticket. If there's a few left, just a few are left still at the Army Reserve Center, and the mysterious Mr. B will be a huge part of things. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. So let's talk about it then. Obviously, you just mentioned it. I mean, walk me through what that felt, getting that win, that first win of your career, that first win where you got to feel. I know that it was a celebration afterwards.
Yeah.
And I know that this is a moment that it's almost, how can I say, it's hard to prepare for. Sometimes it's hard to fathom or it's hard to picture. But I mean, walk me through that moment where you guys all get the win, and what does that mean to you afterwards? What's going through your mind?
Oh, the concept of the match, if when it finally gets broadcast, and the people who were there watching it, and I think even Nathan Gunn had put a little comment under some pictures that I put on my Instagram account. What happened really was that Mr. B took an absolute beating during the match by Axel Strife, Gorgon, and obviously Stephen Cross, and even Isaiah Quinn got involved outside the ring. But I had my brothers, the Los Lancadors, Dishwazada and Mass Marauder. They came ringside with me, good support, and also, we've got to give the credit to the Blazing Guns, because without them, I wouldn't have been so happy after, they got the win. And not only that, they shared the celebration with me as well. They didn't have to. Professional wrestling's an egotistical world.
Oh, I know. It's a dog-eat-dog world. There's one wrestler put it yesterday that we had on, Slugger Hampton from GT Ministries, Nonstop Action Wrestling, and CCW put it. He said it's a dog-eat-dog world. That's the exact word he used.
World. Definitely. That reminds that, I hear Tom Billington in my head saying "dog eat dog world." When
the Dynamite Kid, unfortunately, yep.
And he's right. But what they did was that I was outside of the ring, out on the floor. Stephen Cross got a last couple of few shots out at me.
Yeah, he talked about it last week. He said he was happy with himself that he did beat you down, and he felt that in his mind he won. So because he beat you up and beat up everybody else.
Yeah, he says that, but the record books will forever show that he lost that match. So yeah, suck it. But they got me in the ring. I was celebrating. I was jumping around, and they were giving me hugs. It was just a proper brotherhood, proper amazing, heartfelt moment. And the five of us, because I had my brothers with me, the Los Lancadors. We went backstage. Boys had some tequila and went to a party, and I sat there. I drank, just some low-fat milk. And,
really? You had low-fat milk?
Yeah, I like.
Did anybody really drink milk still? I couldn't tell you the last time I drank milk because I get such a stomach ache from milk. I got to be honest. I haven't had milk since I'm I don't know, in high school. I mean, that's 15 years ago. I don't drink milk. I get such a stomach ache from it.
I can see what you're saying. Because I never really used to drink it, but then I became a professional wrestler, and I thought, well,
you saw Kurt Angle one time douse himself in milk. Maybe that's what you saw. I don't know.
Got milk, yeah. Excuse me. And so yeah, it was an amazing night, and to be honest with you, the feeling hasn't gone yet, and I don't think it ever will. You'll never forget your first win.
No, absolutely. I think the first is always. They say this in anything in sports, whether it's in football, you score your first goal, or whether it's in baseball, you get your first hit, or it's in basketball, you score your first points, or it's in wrestling, your first win. You always kind of remember the first win. It's always the first and the last that you always remember. Everything else in between, unless it's a really big milestone, always you kind of forget them by the wayside. But they always say anything in life, it's the first, whether it's the first girlfriend or first fill in the blanks, whatever else it might be, but yeah, well, that's why I said it that way. But you always remember the first. So this will be, listen, you'll remember this 20, 30 years from now, the mysterious Mr. B, because you'll have more wins. There's no question you'll have more wins. But the first, you'll definitely remember more than, let's say, the worst on their worst moment.
No, but yeah, and also, you make sure you get the memorabilia, so you've got the photographs. And I've managed to keep hold of Stephen Cross's.
But I feel didn't you have the hoodie before the match a few weeks ago? Didn't you have?
I did, yeah.
The Red Rose Rodeo. I feel we had that hoodie though, because I know we spoke about it with Cross. So you had the hoodie before the Red Rose Rodeo. Yeah, that I know for sure.
He left it at the Monday Night Mutiny tapings in dressing room, so it was yoink. I just took that. Of course, I took that, and. I thought he was going to take it back, but he seemed to forget about it. It'd been, all miserable at the end. So I thought, I'll keep it. So now it's just part of Mr. B's general attire.
Oh, well, certainly you do have a interesting shrine or interesting collection, whatever you may want to put it. But let me ask you this question, because let me come back to Bob Costin here for the last few minutes of show. It was a tremendous honor to have us here on Sportswire Radio with pro wrestling star here, the mysterious Mr. B. if you like the LWF and you eventually watch this on different platforms, I highly encourage you give the LWF a follow. LWF the on Twitter, also Facebook, the LWF's page. LWF fans also 217 members strong now for the LWF fans page. Also, make sure you go to the LWF Wrestling on Instagram, like I always do, to look for LWF wall-to-wall coverage. Also, shout outs as always to Steve Bibby and Mikey Fitzgerald. And a shout out to Mikey Fitzgerald because we usually have him on in our regular spot to preview Aces High, but we literally just had him on for Red Rose Rodeo. And this past Monday was July the 4th, and it wasn't because it was Independence Day that I couldn't go on. My voice was shot, actually. My voice was literally shot the day before because we had just a wall-to-wall coverage in wrestling the past few days prior, and unfortunately, I really didn't have much of a voice. So, Mikey Fitz, we'll get you back on in August for the next LWF show afterwards. So I look forward to that. And I didn't have it in me. Unfortunately, I just didn't have it. But that's here nor there. But I want to ask you this question when it comes to Bob Costin.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? I'm going to give you your final words to Bob Costin right now. And what do you want to say directly to Bob Costin before your match, Aces High, Army Reserve Center, Saturday night in Shirley?
Bobby Costin, we've had this match for a couple of weeks written down now. And as much as I love you, amigo, as much as we are amigos, and I know you love me too, brother, is that come this Saturday, 9th of July, at the Army Reserve Centre in Shirley, we're going to go one-on-one. We're going to be sharing that ring together. We're going to be looking at opposing corners to each other. And I'm sorry to say this, but you're going to bring the absolute best out of the mysterious Mr. B. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to surprise the audience. I'm going to surprise people in the back. I'm going to surprise the owners. I'm going to surprise everybody. I'm going to surprise them because I'm going to beat you. Nobody's expecting me to win, mate, but I'm going to beat you. And once it's all done, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to give you a cuddle. And we're just going to go away smiling. And that's how it's going to work, Bobby. I love you, man. But this is my time. This is my time this Saturday. Mwah.
After what you just said, and Nate Reese has said this here in the past, and he talked about the fact that he felt that he got into the head of Bob Costin, and the fact that Bob Costin used to be this kind of happy-go-lucky guy, and he had the long hair flowing, and now we see him, and almost it is kind of, I don't want to say a maturer Bob Costin, but it's a little bit of a different Bob Costin. Would you be maybe concerned or maybe concerned a bit in the fact that Nate Reese said something where he tried maybe to almost get into Bob Costin's head, but rather it didn't work, and maybe if you try that approach after the match that maybe Bob Costin, I don't know, won't accept it? Is that something I should concern you of at all?
Yeah. If you check out the Monday Night Mutinies on LWF television, Bob Costin had a match. It was his first match after he lost his hair against High. And there's a little bit of a new Bob Costin in that match. A little bit more.
And Nate Reese pointed that out here, and he harped on that. It's not but when I had Bob Costin on months ago, Bob Costin was kind of like almost, he was, I don't want to say a child or a boy, but he was kind of like, he was different, right? Now you see him, and it's almost like he's almost, in a sense, a slightly different person in a sense. And Nate Reese had a point on that.
There was a bit more aggression.
Right, exactly. Perfect way to put that. Correct.
Nothing wrong with that in the wrestling ring as well. Like,
absolutely, we're all competitors, right? I mean, the dog eat dog world. We just said that, so absolutely.
And he's still an absolute, he's still a gentleman outside the ring. To certainly to myself and to the Los Lancadors. So we've always got his back. But all seriousness, and I don't think he'll mind me saying this, but I think, as much as I hate to say it, because man, Nate Reese bugs me, and I think he bugs a lot of people. It
seems that way. That's why, I'm kind of curious as to how this whole
He's
tag team
crazy,
situation is going to unfold.
crazy man. You know, the way he wiggles around people is just unreal.
Well, he said Tonga was his bestie, and I don't think I ever heard Tonga respond to that. So who knows?
Well, I think I remember asking Tonga if you're going to let Nate Reese wear because she wears that lovely jacket coming out. You're going to let him wear one of them? And she went, absolutely no chance. So I don't think she was.
Well, I mean, that would definitely the theme song she comes out to, Mariah Carey, "Obsessed." Maybe it was Nate Reese who was obsessed with Tonga, and Tonga just didn't even acknowledge. I think that's what we learned from that. We didn't learn. That's what we learned.
But in going back to what I was saying, you know, he has changed Bob Costin. He has, not just on the, you know, in his physical appearance, because Bob's lost his hair. I mean, you got to remember, Bob's losing his hair was a bit of a heroic thing because it should have been Kelly Van Ness.
I know, exactly.
But he kicked her through the door, locked the door, so she couldn't get out, and he took the bullet. So he's still a great guy.
I mean, what a guy, right? I mean, although I think I have said this, to be fair, I have said this on different shows. I think I even said this with Nathan Gunn, actually, of all people, live. I think we did this a couple of times with Nathan Gunn after that, and I said, well, if it was Kelly Van Ness, I probably would have did the same thing. So probably it's Kelly Van Ness, right?
Kelly,
so I mean,
and shout out to her. She's lovely. She's a lovely girl.
Great. I have said she's a very lovely woman live, very lovely. So yes.
So yeah, but again, you know, there might be an element there that I've seen it. You know, it's not like I haven't seen it. So I'm expecting some of this aggression come this Saturday, and it's how I deal with it. But sometimes what happens in a wrestling ring is when somebody's getting a little bit too aggressive, they take their mind off the game. And again, like I said before, in that split second, that's where I'm going to get him. And without him realizing, that's where I'll get him. Again, I love you, Bobby Costin. I love you. But Nate Reese has certainly done something to change him a little bit. But Nate Reese always gets his. He always gets his comeuppance, doesn't he? It's just the way it works, bless him. And, you know, yeah. Sorry, Bobby, man. Like, I'm going to beat you this Saturday. Sorry, pal.
Well, I'll tell you what, it very well could be the case that the mysterious Mr. B builds upon getting his first official win as a member of the LWF roster, and he could now have his first official singles win here. And what a win that would be against Mr. Bob Costin, who in a lot of ways finally shut some of his critics up when it came to the wildfire Nate Reese and all he said here over the past 6 months. And it is a tremendous honor to have here the mysterious Mr. B on Sportswire Radio. So I want to ask you then, the mysterious Mr. B, what do you want to say to anybody that's listening to this on Sportswire Radio that might come out to the Army Reserve Center here on this Saturday for Aces High?
Wow. The Lancashire Wrestling Federation is presenting a show called Aces High. And for anybody that doesn't have a ticket or wants a ticket, just go to the LWF page. Maybe just go to, you know, find a link for the tickets, buy a ticket. It's the Chorley Army Reserve Centre in Chorley, obviously. And the talent that is on that show is unreal. It's an absolute honour to be on the same show as all of those guys, even if I don't like a lot of them. Even if they're naughty people, they're still unreal wrestling talents, you know. Big shout out to my Los Lancaster brothers, of course. You know, the champion Reynaldo, Lana Austin, Leah Raven, and of course Jenny B. You know, there's Belatius. There's, you know, I wish I could just name everybody in that show. But what you're gonna get is you're gonna get great entertainment. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna get angry. You're gonna, you know, you might get a bit emotional. That's what it is. Professional wrestling is a wonderful, wonderful show. And if you're not even a fan, come and check it out, because I promise you will be after seeing it. 100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you aren't following the LWF, you most certainly need to follow the LWF after what the mysterious Mr. B has said with us here tonight. If you aren't following the mysterious Mr. B, you need to be doing so on Instagram at Mysterious Mr. B, because something tells me here we are going to see many more videos to come. And
Oh
if you're
yeah.
the Acid Stephen Cross, I can't wait to, in a sense, hear what he has to say, because we do have a picture now for the first time.
Oh yeah. Did
of
you get the
yes,
picture? Did you get it?
I have the picture. In fact, I actually do have that picture, and
Yeah.
actually, I have it. I should show you the picture right here, because I actually have the photo. Actually, do I
That's
see?
fantastic. That
There
is
we go.
brilliant. That needs posting everywhere.
I'm gonna post it right when we get off the air. I promise you
Fantastic.
that I will definitely actually post that in a few minutes. Because
Oh,
unfortunately,
he'll love it.
for whatever reason, I've been trying to upload videos. Like I think I said this before we went on the video. I
Yeah.
have a clip that I wanted to post of Nate Reese speaking about the new tag team Crossfire, and he sort of talks about you in the clip. And for whatever reason on Instagram, I can't post any videos right now. And I have no idea why that is. It's just the most bizarre thing. Then I was checking on Google that Instagram was actually down for a bit. So, I mean, who knows what's going on right now? So, I mean,
Who
but
knows?
we will definitely post that photo, because I don't think there's any problem with the photo. So we will do that here. We'll also post it on Facebook and Twitter and all that great stuff here. It has been a tremendous honor, a very, very lively, enjoyable experience with the Mysterious Mr. B here. Is going
Yeah.
to have a huge match. Almost kind of like really is an Aces High like match. I mean, it's a great card for sure coming up here Saturday. But this card, I got to tell you, in this match that we're going to see between the Mysterious Mr. B and Bob Costa, it almost kind of is like an Aces High like match. It's a wild card. You just don't know what you can expect here. So looking forward to all of that. But I know you're a busy man. I know you've got more Stephen Cross videos ahead, maybe more Bob Costin videos ahead. So I want to give you the floor here. Any closing thoughts, anything you want to share, say on Sportswire Radio. And I'm looking forward to the next time here. I'm going to have you on before the next show here in August. And I turn it over to you, my friend, and I hope to see your partners in the Los Lankadors next time
yeah.
as well with us. And my regards to the Mass Marauder and Disfrasada. So floor is yours. Anything you want to plug, say, share, and fire away.
All I'm going to say is, you know, if you can, if you're listening, if you're watching this, follow the Lancashire Wrestling Federation, the LWF. And, you know, if you want to, you know, it'd be great, you know, if you did follow at the Mysterious Mr. B on Instagram and at the Los Lankadors too, and the Disfrazada, because all your support that we get at the shows have just been absolutely incredible and unreal. The more, the merrier, of course. And, you know, I've only got 130 followers. I could do with a few more.
Yeah, we could get some more followers. I mean, in fact, I'm looking at it here right now on Instagram.
What we offer is we offer content. We offer a brand new entertainment.
Well, we're up to 133 now. 133 on your page. So
really?
133. Yep.
Amazing. We have you know, it's called Mr. B TV. So it's something new that we started there, and we'll keep doing it as well. We're here to entertain. We're here for you to have fun, and you know, to put a smile on your face if you're having a bad day. That's what we do. So,
Mr. B TV. Now, are we gonna get a YouTube channel for that also? Or are we staying just on Instagram?
Hey, it's in the works. It's in the thought process.
Yeah, don't tell us. Listen, don't tell us what the situation is when it comes to what you're going to put out there. So definitely don't tell us that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having me on, Reverend.
My pleasure. And I noticed that we share 54 of the same followers on Instagram. So that means some of my followers need to go follow the Mysterious Mr. B, because I'm a little upset about that. And also, I'm a little upset about the fact that the LWF page on Instagram, which has 588 followers, we need more of those followers, especially if you're an LWF fan, to wind up following the Mysterious Mr. B. So, I mean, that what's up with that? Listen, what's up with the fact that only 133 followers of Mysterious Mr. B, but we have 588 on the LWF page? So something's got to give there. I mean, don't worry about me. It's the LWF page that we should be getting more of those followers on.
Just keep making noise and something will happen, I think.
Oh, I will definitely will. The noise will definitely be heard loud and clear here. And we are now 6 episodes in the books of Mr. B TV. So yes, Mr. B TV is definitely enjoyable. He is getting stronger. He is getting faster. And something tells me here we will see many, many more videos ahead here. And listen, You Can Do It, Mr. B was one of the photos from the poster that we saw
Yeah.
in the last show. And you got your first win. We spoke
Yeah.
about that here. So I'm going to assume we'll see more photos of that, more fans cheering you on here. And my friend, good luck. I actually am rooting for you in this match. I'd like to see you going over Bob Costin because, I mean, I'm a Nate Reese guy. So, I mean, and Nate Reese even said it begrudgingly last week. He's kind of rooting for the mysterious Mr. B.
Yeah, I think he was worried I was going to turn up in United States of America and knock on your door, wasn't he? Is that what he was saying?
Yes, well, actually, I should address this. He actually told me, Tom, do you have a lock on the door? And I said, well, not really. I mean, I guess I'd have something that could lock the door. And the asset Stephen Cross did say I should maybe be weirded out a little bit. But, I mean, listen, I would be more weirded out of the boogeyman. I mean, listen, and I should actually, and I don't know if I said this. I think I said this on a show with Disciple, because Disciple actually, I'm going to say this before we go. Disciple actually asked me, and Disciple said, because when I do these introductions, like I just did one for you at the top, he goes, well, let me ask you a question. And I go, yeah, sure, Disciple. He goes, what do people think of your next door neighbors and when you do these loud introductions? Well, I said, I live across the street from a cemetery, so already I can't be weirded out, right? Because my neighbors are dead people, and I have a paper route right across the street where I start, and one of the first addresses on my paper route is the cemetery. There's a little office in there. So how could I be weirded out from you when my next door neighbors are dead?
Well, if they did make a noise, if there was a noise from across the street, then you would get worried, I suppose, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't have to go far when I'm dead, right? So ultimately, my whole plan over the next, 50 years is just move across the street. So, I mean, that's Ladies and gentlemen, we were here with the mysterious Mr. B. As I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager of Sportzwire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce, and you will see the mysterious Mr. B in action coming up this Saturday at Aces High against Bob Costin at the Army Reserve Center in Shorely. There's just a few tickets available, so go to the LWF Wrestling for more information. LWF fans, also the LWF on Twitter, LWF on Facebook, LWF Television on YouTube, also Mysterious Mr. B on Instagram, where you can find Mr. B TV, Los_Lancadores on Instagram, also for more information. And we will be back tomorrow night with more coverage on Sportswire Radio of the LWF Aces High. And also, we will be back Monday night. Special announcement. I will be on with world champion boxer, undefeated, Mark the Tank Ellens. Mark the Tank Ellens, who will be fighting July 23rd in Portsmouth. He will be part of a package from Cestus Events, our very good friends over at Cestus Events in Trevor Lake. And I want to thank them for giving us the opportunity to speak with Mark the Tank Ellens. And this guy, let me tell you something. He literally looks like a tank. He's got like so many tattoos. He's got not an ounce of fat on him. He's just a tank. Yeah. Oh my God. This guy, let me tell you something. He would be an excellent person to be in the ring with, to maybe get him in an LWF show or something. But Mark the Tank Ellens, really, really looking forward. And he's fighting from Portsmouth. He's going to be in Portsmouth fighting. He's a hometown guy. He's undefeated. He's 6-0. I mean, this guy, let me tell you something. I'm looking forward to it. I hope this guy doesn't beat me up. I hope this guy doesn't kill me. I hope I ask him the right questions. But we are looking forward to that. Definitely give him a follow on Facebook. He's an up-and-coming star. He's going to have 2 championship belts after July 23rd. So I'm looking forward to all of that here. So thank you, everybody. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. Good night, and we'll be back tomorrow night with the Acid Stephen Cross and Wildfire Nate Reese.